breaking news. Odin, can you get in touch and let us know more? Breaking news: Glastonbury Town Hall has been taken over. I don't know what
I know a little. I do know a little bit about this, and we'll add it towards the end of the programme. So
right,
yes,
okay.
Thank you for that alert. There. Probably that's a good time to mention. We will give a full report on this tomorrow, but we understand that local people in Glastonbury decided to really take the battle to the establishment. So they were in I think it's the council chambers, challenging the council on everything that they are connected to. So we have the undermining of common law, we have the ignoring of our constitution and constitutional rights, and of course we have the total fraud out of money created from nothing. All of the local officials in the Glastonbury area, I understand, have been informed of what's going on, and they were then told to actually sort it out. So
John Galloway's just actually posted, he's been told a group have taken over Glastonbury Town Hall under Article 61 of Magna Carta with the blessings of Duke of Rutland.
Okay. So we will give you a full report on that tomorrow. What I do know is that everything that's been done has been done peaceably, which is peacefully, which is a very, very important thing. But we are getting to the stage where people say it's no good sitting and sending an email. We need to actually get in the faces of the individuals controlling things. So before we give you a reminder on the conference, colours are coming to light through the suits, but luckily some people are taking some pretty effective action. And we mentioned yesterday that on Tuesday a group of peaceful protesters spoke out at Glastonbury Town Hall Council meeting, and they were looking to secure a response from the council on the subjects of Agenda 21. What they were focusing on here is the true Agenda 21, which is the world population is going to be reduced, people are going to be forced to live in cities, and we are to be grossly controlled. And of course the Lisbon Treaty, stripping away freedoms of us here in UK. They pointed out that both were major attacks on our freedoms and liberty. Some members of the council found the concerns and questions put to them amusing. They all thought it was a bit of a joke. I would suspect they have no idea what Agenda 21 really is. And the protesters demanded that their elected councillors stood with them in lawful rebellion. Well, they didn't get a response to that, and as a result they took over. If we just pop that one back briefly, Nick, thank you. They didn't get a proper response, so they took over Glastonbury Town Hall under Article 61 of the Magna Carta 1215. Now, this is not a spur-of-the-moment thing. This group of people have been in touch with the Duke of Rutland, the senior peer of the Barons Committee, and the significance of this is that the Barons Committee back in 2001 effectively challenged the Queen on what was happening in the country, that she was giving away her sovereign powers, she was accepting mediatisation, and they said you can't do this under the law of the land. But essentially that committee was refused entry. There was no proper reply to their demands. So these are the proper proper peers of the country who were deeply concerned about the attack on our constitution and our constitutional rights, and the Queen snubs them. However, the original Magna Carta laws, Article 61, still in place, and these people taking that basic law to raise a protest. Now, what's significant is, in this case, the police were called. When they were told on what basis the protesters were taking the action, they backed off. They didn't remove anybody from the town hall. And I've got to say, we don't know what the situation is at the moment. I couldn't get any contact for an update. But as soon as we can, we will get one of the protesters on UK Column News to give a first-hand account. You can take this with a screenshot after the show, but this is Article 61 of the Magna Carta, which they were basing their action on, that if we have a lawless government, it's up to ordinary people to take what action they need to in order to secure proper justice and law and order. So we are finally starting to see ordinary people stand up to be counted, and this group has requested that people in other parts of the country should adopt a similar procedure. So that brings us in nicely. Who knows? This is the state of the country. Luckily, some people are trying to do something about it, and we reported that on Tuesday, the 14th of October, peaceful protesters went in and took over Glastonbury Town Council. If we just show that one briefly, Nick, to set the scene. We'll be able to produce that one on screen shortly. There we are. Now, this was, in its way, quite a small event. Planning went into it, but the reaction has been quite extraordinary, and we now know that the story's gone worldwide. So over to you and our two guests, Sandy and David.
Hi Sandy, hi David, how you doing?
Hello.
Hello. So what happened last week and how was it all organised? It's just fantastic what you've done, and how long did it take to organise?
Well, it took us about 3 months to actually initiate the process initially. We provided the police and the council with all the documented evidence of Article 61, Agenda 21, and also that treason has and is being committed. So after providing all this evidence, we're asking where are the council standing on this, also the police. And we've been totally ignored. So at the last meeting, we got a little bit more forceful in our approach, and we seized the building as a protest.
And how many of there were you?
There were 7 of us that actually seized the building. There were more of us at the event, but not everyone stayed.
And then other people came back.
A few people came back.
Yeah.
Right. So to summarise this, we've got the fact that you have been approaching members of Glastonbury Town Council, asking them to look at the issues of the Constitution, what's been happening with Lisbon Treaty and the EU, and also you've been saying to them, do you really understand what the problems are with Agenda 21? Is that? Would that be correct for the start of events?
Yeah.
I think you're there. Try again.
Yes.
Yes, it would. I mean, I think we were trying to urge them really to take at least some sort of stand, because we've got very little time before the ratification, the 6 parties ratified on the 1st of November. So for us, there was...
Can I cut in there?
Yeah.
Actually, there's a big misconception going around. Nothing's being ratified. It's already been ratified. Lisbon and Nice have both been ratified. Nice just comes into effect on the 1st of November,
right.
taking away another 43 areas of the most important control that only Britain can have under the Constitution, and giving it to the EU, including the command of the police. Now, this is obvious treason.
Right. And so what sort of reaction did you get from the council members when you first approached them? We'll have a look at the detail, because I've got some of the documents here. But when you first started to speak to local councillors about what was really going on with these very important constitutional and political issues, what did they say to you?
First of all, they kind of said, "Oh, we'll investigate." But basically, all they did was they acquiesced to our demands, which were, "Where do you stand? We want you to stand under Article 61 as well, because it's a duty of everyone in the country to defend the Constitution in this way. It's actually a criminal offence not to do so." And that's what we're pointing out, is only the truth. And what they did was they basically acquiesced to our demands.
Right. Sandy, if I may, I'm just going to suggest you come in a little bit tighter with David, because we've only got half of you appearing on the screen, and we'd like to see all of you.
Okay.
So, David, would this be an appropriate time to bring up the Leolin Price QC letter, which is going back to 27th of January 2000, where people were trying to bring the whole issue of Article 61 into the courts.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just pop that on screen briefly. Can you actually see that at the moment?
Yes.
Would you just be able to talk it through, just in simple terms, what the letter's actually saying and asking for?
Well, the letter's actually describing why Article 61 needs to be invoked, i.e. the treason aspect of the EEC, the European Union. And, well, that's it, the reasons why we need to invoke it. So.
Okay, and so this was all set up back in 2000, and Ashley Moat's got his name on the end of this particular document. What was the result of the interaction with Leland Price QC and trying to take this into court?
It didn't get anywhere. It didn't actually get into court, but it provided a good grounding for actually initiating the Article 61. We have a QC on board, if you like. So, it just gave it more credibility. So.
Yes. Okay, and I'll just bring up the Article 61 of the Magna Carta here. So, how has this article suddenly become so important, and why were you able to use it in taking a protest into the council?
Well, the reason that we were able to use it is because it stands to this day. It can't be denied. It was invoked. It can't be denied. The letters between the Committee of the Barons and Jambrin, which was the alleged Queen's private secretary, proved that it was invoked. They wouldn't have even responded if it wasn't required.
Yeah.
So well, that's basically it. It has been invoked. It can't be denied. It's treason to deny the Constitution. So this is where we have this power, if you like, where we can invoke it. And actually, if you go against what we're doing here, you're acting against the Constitution, which is treason. It's very, very simple.
Okay, so we've got to a very serious issue here. You are basically saying that as a result of powers, correct me if I haven't got this right, but what I think you're saying is that because powers are being stripped away from this country, which affect our basic constitution, going back as far as Magna Carta, and you've got elected officials who will not act, you have taken the protest right into the council and ultimately taken the opportunity to take over the building, which makes the protest that they're not acting as they should be.
It proves that Article 61 can be used, and it can be used peacefully and by anybody. After all we're doing is standing under the law of the country, which we can prove. So, and this needs to be done by people, because people don't seem to realise the enormity of what's going on here. 800 years of our rights and freedoms are just about to be destroyed. And 1.4 million people in 2 contrived world wars fought in defence of those rights and freedoms, and we're just allowing them to be taken away. It can't stand. We can't allow this to happen without a fight. And when I say a fight, a peaceful fight, as much as possible.
There's a lot of people out there who don't even realise we have a constitution in this country. I put up just a thing on Facebook for the BCG annual meeting on the 1st, and I was getting messages that the UK, Britain hasn't got a constitution. Well, I think you'll find it has, but people nowadays just aren't aware that there is a constitution. This
is the message coming through government. People like Nick Clegg in particular. It's a whispering campaign that's been going on for years that we don't really have a constitution, and therefore the political system, need to bring in a new Bill of Rights. And of course, we can guess what's going to come in. It's going to be whatever the plan is with the European Union in the first place. So what actually happened in the building? Did you get some dialogue with the councillors? Did they run away? The police were called. How did you get on with them as well?
Well, the councillors, they ran off to a private chamber to discuss stuff that wasn't in the public interest. Of course, that's financial stuff. the police that came across, the first two constables that came across actually were PCSAs. They were very friendly. They just wanted to see what we were doing. And then 6 other officers came along, and they agreed that, we weren't doing anything unlawful. It's a public building. They didn't know anything about Article 61 and weren't very keen to look into it, to be honest, because all the police are being told that anything political is, they can't look at it. Well, that puts politicians above the law, surely.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that's absolutely where they think they are at the moment. Am I right in thinking that, David, you've taken on most of the constitutional stuff? We've also got Agenda 21. Can we ask Sandy how you've been challenging the council over Agenda 21? What are you concerned about?
Well, at the moment, Agenda 21 is mandatory. But after November the 1st, it will be is voluntary. But after November 1st, it becomes mandatory, so that we have to. It's actually going to be against the law to stand up against it. So I think really we would. I've been trying to get across to the councillors that these policies are going to affect all of us very, very badly, and that we need to get some sort of to use lawful rebellion to actually stop all these policies, because we've got lots of different things happening. We've got fracking, we've got the TTIP, we've got chemtrails, we've got Agenda 21. All of these things are all, people are campaigning for these things separately, and it really, lawful rebellion could actually unite all these things under one umbrella, because with lawful rebellion, if we can stop the need for unity, it automatically these things will be more difficult for them to actually enforce upon us.
Sandy, can I just get you to repeat? Did you actually say if we challenge what's going on, it's against the law? If we challenge Agenda 21, it's against the law?
Well, with Agenda 21, there's certain things coming in that I don't know what is it, the law against. It's a terrorist. You're a domestic terrorist if you speak out against things that they don't want you to speak out against.
Well, this is all under the EU Constitution, of course. But what it is that the European Union have sort of taken on 21, and it's obvious that they're going to kind of, because it is voluntary, but they're going to impose it on people in this way, as Sandy says. Now, and Sandy's correct in saying that, what we need to do is to unite everybody under the English Constitution, under the British Constitution. If we're going to save it, we need to use it or lose it. So there's no reason why you can't still do your fracking protest, you can protest, or whatever you're doing, but do it under the law. You have the protection of the Constitution, because it does protect you. It gives you a better offence and defence, and carry on with what you're doing, but use the law to protect yourself.
Yeah, this is a very, very important part of it. I find it amazing that you got such well-behaved treatment from the police when you did this, because of course we've seen in other areas that the police are totally ignorant of the law, and therefore they take the wrong action against people. Just if I may, because we've got the slide to bring up the information on screen, just if you can, tell us a bit more about the petition to the barons and the significance. This was, I'm not sure I got a date on this. Well, it's come off, I think, the website on the 2014. But this petition, what is the significance of this?
Well, we have the right to petition. Well, we have a right to convene a committee of barons, or under the Constitution, to petition the Crown or the monarch when institutionalised treason, especially, is being enforced on us, and she has a duty, or the King has a duty under the Constitution to redress the problem, which is the Nice Treaty. And this is what the petition was about, was the fascist elements or the undemocratic, unconstitutional aspects of the Nice Treaty. It's going to take away, completely take away our national sovereignty, which leaves us only in serfdom, in servitude to the EU. Yeah. So no redress was forthcoming after the 40-day period, And so lawful rebellion on the 23rd of March 2001 was invoked in this country, and that cannot be denied.
Okay.
So, I mean, I've proven this 4 years ago when I deregistered my truck, and I informed all the relevant alleged authorities at the time, including the police, what I was doing, and I was eventually arrested. But when I was arrested, I didn't consent to the courts or the police, and basically they withdrew after I served them with misprision of treason notices. I served them with the evidence of treason. And once you've done that, once I've done that, you have to report the crime. That's part of the treason laws in this country. Misprision of treason. If you don't report the crime, you're guilty of the crime.
Right.
So it's a very important crime. Treason is the most important crime. Go on.
Okay. Well, I'll just if I may add in there that of course we've now seen politicians who for many years have been denying that treason still exists. Then suddenly there was a little flurry in the Commons with politicians saying, oh, well, of course, treason laws do exist, and perhaps we should charge people who go overseas to fight in Syria or the Middle East. When they return, we should charge these people with treason. And I found it fascinating to watch how there was almost a look of horror by the more senior MPs, and I think this is because, of course, you can't have it both ways. We've been told that treason doesn't exist. We can't hang people for committing treason. Then all of a sudden, it obviously does exist because it's been used as a threat against people going overseas to fight in Syria. So the treason laws do still exist, and the moment we know those laws still exist, of course, as you say, for people to attempt to dismantle our constitution and remove God-given laws and rights and laws and freedoms, then we're in a very serious situation. This is treason by our own government.
Can I just interject there, please?
Of course.
Basically, Blair claims to have repealed the 1795 Treason Act, which was actually an act of treason to do so. And because he committed treason before that, he had no authority to do this. That's also the death penalty for treason, which is still hanging in this country. So, the treason laws, they do exist. I mean, there's nothing. You cannot repeal a treason law without committing treason. So there's a lot of doublethink going on. They try to claim that treason is an unproven claim, which is correct. But why is that? Well, that is because they will not allow people like me, a court de jure, under the constitutional laws of this country, to prove that claim. Now, I've attempted to get redress 2 years ago. I mean, my case with the deregistering of the truck was 4 years ago, and then 2 years ago, I attempted remedy by demanding my constitutional rights of trial by jury, and I was, of course, denied. They withdrew the warrant for my arrest. They haven't chased me for the fines, and the police won't arrest me. So all they can do is ignore me, and I'm putting out a public challenge here to Theresa May, the Home Secretary, that I demand my day in court. I have torts have been committed against me, wrongs have been committed against me, and I want to prove that matter under a court de jure in this country, and to prove that the claim of treason that I'm claiming and can prove is real.
I was actually going to ask you just that, David. What do you want to do next? Sandy, but what about you? What do you want to see happen next, and where are you going from here?
Well, I think the seizure of the town hall was really a statement, because they were laughing in our faces when we said that we have every right to seize this under Article 61, and they laughed in our faces. And I think it's been a big shock to them to see that we did it, and the police were called, and the police said, "Well, you're not doing anything unlawful at all. We're going to go away and leave you." And so we stayed in the town hall until probably at 2 in the morning, and then the poor caretaker, because we were being honourable and we don't want to cause him any loss under common law. You can't cause people loss or harm, and he wanted to go home to his wife, poor man. So we said, look, we're going to be honourable and say that's enough. We're going to leave, and we got on very well with him. He was very thankful for the overtime, I think, and so we went off. But you see, the thing is that it's caused a bit of a stir. They the next day they did actually shut the town hall. They were terrified that we were going to come back in, but we are honourable, we are lawful. And we're not going to we're not hooligans. We are people who demand our rights and to be heard by the people who we have put in office. And they are literally not doing their jobs. And they're not looking at these issues. And we, the people, are standing up and rising up and saying, listen to us, or we will take control. And if they acquiesce and they say, yes, we will stand in lawful rebellion against our treasonous government and our treasonous crown, we will leave them alone and we'll let them do the job. But they're not doing that. So what else do you have to do but to take, to invoke Article 61? And I think the thing that we do next, I think, would be really good is if other people listen and realise that this can be done and that the people can be heard under lawful rebellion and that we can. Yeah, is that right?
Well, Article 61 is unassailable. It can't be denied. So all people have to do is use it now. And if we do it en masse, because individually, I mean, I stopped all demands against me just as an individual. I mean, so if I can do that, anyone can do it. I'm just a layman to the law. I've learned this over the last few years as I've done it, really.
Yeah. I mean, the chat room here at the column is certainly very inspired by you guys. How do people, have you got a Facebook page or a website or anything that people can maybe get in touch with you?
Yeah, so my Facebook page is Practical Lawful Dissent, where we've got loads of information. All the evidence is in the files, and please come along and have a look in the files before we make comment, because we do get people coming on and asking obvious questions, which is a bit frustrating. We've also got a website, www.lawfuldissent.co.uk. It's in its infancy, but we are working on that one.
Oh, gosh, we'll have to have you on again. Are you going to be coming to the British Constitution meeting next week?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, what date? I don't even know.
We will speak to you. If you can stay with us for the programme, we'll be doing a little bit of advertising at the end of it. But thank you very much. Important stuff, and we'll be delighted to have you on again.
Oh,
thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, David. Thanks, Andy. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Lovely couple.
Well, people out there realising serious things afoot in the country and taking action. And, of course, Louise took the very action of writing to